Hello everybody, this is Molly. I want to share with y'all some cards I made today and had just so much fun. I wish y'all had been here playing with me and just love playing with some of the colors. The stamp set that I used was this Touches of Texture. Just had to have it. I saw a bunch of videos on YouTube how people used it, so I kind of I guess we call it cased a card. I scrap lifted a card, whatever you want to call it, with this stamp set, and I just love it. It's got some wonderful floral images, some great distressed, feminine distress. Can you see that that's like a hint of lace showing there? Great stem, flower center, and of course a bee and a dragonfly. You can't go wrong with that. So let me show you what the cards are. And then as you can see here, it's pink flamingo and daffodil yellow. Is it daffodil yellow? Hold on just a moment. Let me check my facts here. Hold on. It's daffodil yellow. And then this is berry burst, sweet sugar plum. This is the calypso coral. It's going to come off a little orange on my camera with my lighting, but it is calypso coral. And then dapper denim. I love them all. Now what I did is, you can see here, and I picked this up from somebody else. Wasn't my own idea, but I love it. I just used color on color. So if this is flamingo pink, that's Flirty Flamingo ink. So Flirty Flamingo, all the way. And then the Very Vanilla and a little Old Olive. So it makes for just a beautiful card. And while it looks like you're a watercolor artist or a abstract artist or something, couldn't be any easier with these stamps. And then on the inside, I just stamped the inside with a sweet little border of the same colors. Use different ones on the inside. So how is that? That's that one. And then on this one, I used the same floral background, that floral stamp. In addition, I put a little bee, and then I used the little jumbled alphabet stamp to add just a little more distressing to that. So I love how the Daffodil Delight color came out. Here's the Berry Burst. Oh my gosh, I just love the drama in this. Use the same flowers. And then I did add the lace, and just one little flower down there. So I like how this one came out. Here's the Sweet Sugar Plum. Use the little lace. And then I used the lace on the inside of the card, if you can see that. And I think that's just a sweet, kind of a little bit of drama when you open the card, so I like that. I did pop up these panels so that the card it's flat to mail, but it's got a little bit of dimension. And then here's the Calypso Coral, again with the lace edge. And then on on this one and the Dapper Denim, I used the flower outline to do the background here. So I like how that came out. And then stamp some flowers up in the corner of that. So that's pretty. And then here's the Dapper Denim with the, can you see that flower stamped on there? A little bit of the lace. I love how the wasabi color came out with it. Wild wasabi color came out with that thing. And then this center I left plain. First one I did, so I left it plain. But anyway, so I just wanted to share what fun you can have with this Touches of Texture set. It is very, if you're artistic driven and like playing with color and adding a little depth and texture and layering to your pieces, great for mixed media and things, this would be a great set for you to play with. It's not one, I don't believe it's one of the newer sets. I've seen some YouTubes for a while with it, but oh my God, it's gorgeous. I just absolutely love it. So I want to show you quickly how I made the card, and I kind of ramble on. I get ink up to my elbows just about, having a blast with it. But okay, let's get started and I'll show you how I made the card. So let's get started. What we have here, I kind of have laid out what we've got. The card base, of course, is a traditional half sheet. You take an 8.5 by 11 and you cut it at 5.5 inches this way. Then score it at 4 1/4, fold it in half. There's your card base. The inside card, I've used Very Vanilla. It's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. That leaves us a pretty little border of color around the edge. The Old Olive pieces that I have cut are 2 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And then the Very Vanilla that goes on top of that is just 2 3/4 by, wait, excuse me, the Very Vanilla then is just 1/4 of an inch smaller than that all the way around. So then you've got a piece of Old Olive that is 1 1/4 by 3 3/8, and the Very Vanilla piece is just 1 inch by 3 3/8. I'll try to do a blog posting and get all those measurements. Now this size right here is determined solely by the scraps that I had. You can make it bigger, you can make it littler. I just like the balance of this, and I happen to have scraps those size, close to those sizes, so I trimmed them down, and that's it. Now to get started, I'm going to be using color on color, if you remember. You know, the same color on the same color. So I've got my stamps ready and we're going to get started. Now I will be doing this upside down, so if I trip and fall a couple of times, just laugh and, you know, we'll get back up and go with it. But remember, I am doing it upside down, so we're going to see how I do. Okay, so I have the one of the stamps from the kit, the Touches of Texture. It's this pretty little floral here. Let's see if you can see it. That beautiful floral there. I love that thing. Okay, so we are simply going to do the very complicated task of getting some ink on it, stamping off, stamping on. Okay, that's too light for me, so I'm going to just stamp on. Okay, I like that color better. Ooh, upside down. So let me twist my stamp just a little bit and keep going with that. You can see, I'm not going to worry about getting in the center because my piece is going to cover that up, but I do want to get my flowers going in a couple of different directions so it doesn't look like I've just got, you know, same old, same old. So you can see where I'm just, hopefully you can see where I'm just stamping around the card. Trying to get a few flowers on there. Let me get a few more right there. Wait, let me see. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and stamp another one here just to fill in that hole a little bit. Stamp a little one there because I'm not sure exactly where my piece is going to end up. So this is what I have. So that is Daffodil Delight on top of Daffodil Delight cardstock. Okay, I'm going to rinse off this stamp real quickly, clean it off, set it aside. If I was making more cards, I would make as many yellows as I could, you know, the Daffodil Delight as I could, clean off my stamps and be ready to go for the next one. That's all I'm going to do on the outside of the card. I'm going to grab the vanilla card base, same stamp, and then I'm going to ink it up. Oh, this is going to be fun upside down. I'm going to, oh, I hope I can. Just stamp a few flowers along the bottom. My hands are in my way. Let's see if I can get it done this way. Okay. So I'm just putting a little border of flowers along the bottom there. And what that does is not only is it beautiful on the card, but it keeps me from having to write quite as big of a note on a thank you note. And also it just keeps it, you know, just a little bit more romantic. So I'm done with the inside of the card. So that's pretty. Nice little border on that. Okay, so we're done with the outside of the card and the card base. So the next thing, I'm going to set the two olives aside. And I've got my very vanilla, the bigger of the, you know, outside pieces of that. Let me see, you know, keep saying I'm going to go backwards. Okay, for this, I'm going to use this. Can you see what stamp that is? It's the solid outline of the flower. I'm going to do it full strength, and I'm going to put a flower. I'm going to go ahead and put a second flower just because I want to. Okay, so I've got two flowers on this one. Clean off my stamp. Okay, now I'm going to take the watercolor look, you know, the impressionist look, so to speak, and I'm going to stamp it, but I'm going to stamp off on, color off it. And then you're not worried about perfection here. You're just worried about laying down. Oh, that's so pretty. I'll hold it up for you in just a minute so you can see it. So you see how you're just laying a layer of color inside that flower? That is so pretty. Looks like you're making, you know, like you're an artiste, to say the least, and all you're doing is just slopping down some color on that. Now I'm going to use, if you can see the little flower that I'm going to put color on for the center, full strength in the center. Oh, doesn't that add a nice touch? Full strength in the center. I'm kind of apologizing for doing the Daffodil Delight. It's just when that card was finished, I fell so much in love with it, I wanted to keep going. So that's where we are with this one. And with fall coming and autumn and all, I thought we'd use that one. Okay, so we're through with that one. So the next stamp we're going to use, I'm going to take and I apologize for not using a Stampin' Up block, but I have these other blocks on hand and I don't have my Stampin' Up order in. Okay, I'm going to use this stamp right here. That's, you know, I had told you about Timeless Textures being one of my favorite little stamps. This little fella, if you can see him, just those little dots. Upside down and backwards. Okay, this one right here, I think it's going to be my second favorite. So I'm going to just stamp it on, stamp it off, light. Stamp it. So if you might not be able to see what I'm doing, I'm getting some ink on there, stamping off. Let me show you in just a minute. Okay, that's about all I want to do there. So you can you see, I hope you can, where there is just some color splashes on there. Oh, so pretty. Now, Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the, I'm calling them the jumbled alphabets. I'm not sure what you'd want to call them, but I'm calling them the jumbled alphabets. And I'm going to take, and in crumb cake, which is a wonderful crumb cake color, I'm going to take those, stamp on, stamp off, and just randomly put a few slushes of that. I don't know why. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Okay, now let me see if I can get a little lighter. Oh, nope, I didn't stamp off, so I didn't get lighter. Okay, so we got a little bit of that on the card. Adds a little distress look to it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do on this, I'm going to go ahead and take my little finger dauber. I keep figuring out how to get another thing. And I'm going to ink the edges of this just a little bit. Now, I'm inking with crumb cake. You could ink with the yellow or you could ink with the crumb cake. I'm inking with crumb cake on this one because I got such a dark impression of the crumb cake. I wanted to look like I did that on purpose, you know, kind of thing. But you certainly could do this with the yellow on the edge, you know, with the Daffodil Delight on the edge. So that gives it a nice distressed look. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it in the crumb cake. I would have done it in black normally, you know, a bee. But I'm going to take this little bee fella. I'm going to do him in crumb cake. And I'm going to put him down. Oh, I hope I put enough ink on him. I did. Okay, now there is a little bitty stamp right here. Isn't that darling? I'm going to take him off. You can see where I got a little boo-boo on him right there. Let's see if we can fix that. Okay, now this one I'm going to take, I'm going to put the crumb cake up. I'm going to take the Daffodil Delight, just a little bit of that ink, and try to hit close to his body. Oop, I gave a shadow around him too. Darn. Okay, now I'm going to take my embossing pen, pick up some of that Daffodil Delight. Let me see, make sure I don't have green left on there. And I'm going to color his wings a little bit. Let's see if I can get lighter and lighter. Color his wings a little bit. And give his body a little more color. Come out a little bit. And it'll make it look like I had a plan. Okay, so we've got our bee colored in. He's cute. If I had it to do over again, would have done him in a light black or the basic gray color. But he's pretty cute. I do have a shadow there of a flower. What do you think we can do to get rid of that? I think I'm going to stamp. I'm going to use my crumb cake and stamp a little more. Let me see if I can get a real light impression of the alphabet there. And if as y'all get to know me better from these videos, you're going to see I don't fuss over stuff too much. Well, that's too light. Yeah, that hides that pretty good. It looked like I meant to do that. So that's gone. Okay, so that's a good layering on there. Now, what in heaven's name we got to get those stems on there? Let me see if I can find my stem stamps. I know they're here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're going to go and try to find wild wasabi on this. Have you ever seen like at TV stations where, you know, in front of the camera it's clean and everything away from the camera is a hot mess? That is my room right now. I'd like to be able to give y'all a tour of my little room one day, but boy, it's not today. Okay, so wild wasabi. Now, I have a bad habit of getting too much green ink on the edge of this thing and then leaving shadows. You can see why I end up with ink on my fingers. Instead of using a rag or anything, I just use my fingers. I'm going to press as light as I can, pick up a little wild wasabi. If I see I've got too much color, I would recommend you use a rag. I'm using my fingers. I'm just going to wipe that off. Try to get as close to the flower as I can and give myself a stem. Oh, I didn't do too bad on that one. And then I'm going to come over here. And now you can see where this stem is too far away from the edge. You don't want a flower just looking like it was, you know, free floating in. So I'm going to pick up a little green. And we're just going to color ourselves in a stem. Okay. So now it looks like, you know, they were meant to be there. Okay, let me see if I'm going to color in just a little bit of the leaves. Now I've got the leaf over this flower. Not in love with that, but we're going to live with it. But I should have put a mask over that one and then stamped the that stem. But it didn't, so we're happy with that now. Okay, so there. Let me wipe off my pen. Get that green off there. Okay, so there's the front of my card. Let's See how that's going to layer on top of that? That's pretty. Oh my gosh, that's darling. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, let me close up the Daffodil Delight before I manage to put my hand in it or my elbow in it or something. And we're going to take the thank you stamp. Now, this thank you stamp actually came from the Daisy Delight stamp set. I know we're all waiting for that punch to come back in, but it's coming, it's coming. This stamp set's on page 127. It's $17 for the set. Great set of stamps. And one of the treasures in there is this beautiful thank you. Now, I am not great at centering and getting stamps right. So let's see if I'm going to be able to do this. First, I'm going to stamp and see if, well, I got enough ink. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp it. And then I'm going to see if I can get this centered right. Good news is God made two sides to a piece of paper. So if I mess up this one, I got a 50-50 chance of doing the other side, good or bad. And if not, oh my gosh, it came out great. I'm so excited. Okay, so we've got our thank you done. Okay, we are now to the home stretch here, and all we have to do is glue this card together, and I think I can handle that without too much of a glue mess everywhere. Let me get everything away from me. Now, where did you do with my Tombow? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to take this, put a little Tombow on the back. Great, 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 great glue. Gives you just enough wiggle room, and yet dries quick enough to not annoy you that you're waiting for something to dry. So I'm going to lay that inside the card. It gives me enough time to get it straight. Isn't that pretty on the inside of the card? That's nice. Okay, so on the outside of the card, I'm going to glue this to the back here. And then I'm going to put this on here, and we're going to put that on the card. Now, I want a little dimension. I could use dimensionals, which are somewhere on this desk, and pop it up. But I want to caution you just a little bit. While these dimensionals truly are some of the greatest pop dots I've ever come across in my life, I love them. I'm a little hesitant to use just a few of them on the back, because if you mail it, it might get crushed or anything like that. So I'm going to use a lot of dimensionals, but you also could use just fun foam to give yourself good full coverage on the back. So when it goes through the mail, you stand less of a you know what I think I'm going to do? You have less of a chance of it getting crushed. I think I'm going to glue this to the card. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Have to pop it up. Okay, let me put dimensionals on there. But, and like I say, these are great dimensionals, but I do find that I quite often use fun foam if I'm using a nice big piece like this, because I don't want it to get crushed in the mail. Okay, so we've got some dimensionals on there. Oh, I'm sorry. Wool in a China shop here. Do y'all see what I'm doing with these, how easy the backs to this, these dots come off? And can you see that I am just throwing them on the floor? That's part of the fun of crafting to me, is my garbage can is right here by the side of my desk. And I am not Michael Jordan. I only hit the, I don't make the loop too often, but it's right there for me to clean up, so it's not a big deal. Okay. So, oh, that one stayed on my hand. Okay, hold on. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, we're coming. We're coming. Okay, so we're going to put it right side up, hopefully. Going to put that on there. That is so cute. I don't know what it looks like on the camera, but in person, it's darling. Now, I crumb caked the edge of that, so I'm thinking to myself, probably need to do that. Let's see if I have an, oh, yes, I do. I have just enough ink left on the dauber to kind of distress the edge of that. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, so we've got that distressed. Kind of matches the look to it. Okay, I'm going to glue that to that little, boy, we are in the home stretch. Okay, let me wiggle this around a little bit. Now, this is raised, this is lower, so I'm going to put a glue dot, let me make sure I'm on the right side, just on this side to stand it up. I hope I'm in camera, yep. And then I'm going to put glue on this side and glue it to the front of the card. And ta-da, hold on, I'm on a little bit of those leaves peeking out. I can't tell if I'm straight. Somebody tell me if I'm straight. Okay, So there we are. That's how easy that card was to put together, and this card is ready to go. But anyway, so here's this card. I hope you enjoy, and I want to share one more little tip with you. Hold on just one second. A lot of times as demonstrators, or any of us, if we take the time to make a gorgeous homemade card, handcrafted card, I should say, not homemade, we put a note in it on a post-it note, handwritten maybe, that lets people know that they can reuse that card. Part of their gift or thank you is the gift of that card that they can then use. I will sometimes just print on my printer. My handwriting is just nothing I'm too proud of. But I will print on the printer my thank you notes. I'll print them 4 up to the page or so. Then I'll just take some empty post-it notes, blank post-it notes, put them where I want to over there, smush them down good, attach them good, and then run that through my printer. And it's going through this way, so these are not coming loose. And when it comes out, it is printed on there. Then you just put another set of post-it notes, and you're good to go. So if you ever feel like you want to print on post-it notes, that's how I do it. I'm sure there is a different way, maybe a better way, but that's certainly how I do it, because I'm not mass producing. I just need 3 or 4 at a time, so that works for me. Okay, let me go back over this real quick, not to bore you. But here's my set of cards. I'm loving the Daffodil Delight. There's the Flirty Flamingo, Dapper Denim, Calypso Coral, Sweet Sugar Plum. Oh, the Berry Burst. I love that color. And then the Flirty Flamingo again. Let me set that aside. I do want to recommend this set of stamps to you if you're into mixed media and layering and texturing and things. This is the Touches of Texture. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think this will be a treasure for years and years and years. Remember that in the month of July 2017, they're having you get a $5 coupon that will be good to spend in the month of August. For every $50 that you spend with Stampin' Up! Before shipping and taxes, you would get that $5 coupon. So if you spend $51, you'd get a $5 coupon. If you spend $99, you'd get a $5 coupon. If you spend $102 or over $100, you'd get 2 coupons, for $5 each, so $10 worth to spend in the month of August. So if you're interested in this set and you had to buy a few dimensionals or maybe an ink pad or something to go along with it, you'd be at the $50 mark, and I think you'd just be delighted with this treasure. Obviously, if you want to add the Daisy Delight, that's $17. Well, there's your $50 right there. So that would be a great buy for you. I think you'd enjoy it. Okay, thank y'all so much for bearing with me for this tutorial. I hope I didn't bore you to death and didn't make too much of a mess. Thank y'all so much for your time. Have fun crafting. Have a great summer. Bye-bye.